Good day and welcome back to the Student StarCraft AI Tournament's weekly broadcast of the most interesting replays of the week. We have had quite some recommendations, they are really picking up, and luckily I'll just be able to cast all of them. And should there be very much more recommending going on, then I'll have to reconsider that, but at the time being it's just about perfect, and well, I can pick one or two replays of my own just to make the set complete. Now, one of the games that was recommended was Locutus vs Killerbot, or otherwise known by its author's name, Marion Deveka, and of course Locutus is going for this Forge Fast Expand with the nice gateway, perfect SimCity. It's the BWEP, and that is some kind of terrain analysis thing, which is pretty good looking by this non-hard-coded SimCity. Killerbot foregoing any kind of SimCity, just going for a pool, a handful of, oh, here are the Zerglings, chasing the probe. That's still happening, and that really should be a thing of the past. Someone should think about something that foregoes this, because you can not really do all the pressuring you'd like if your Zerglings are off on a wild probe chase, like here, to, well, really nicely placed creep colonies, and oh dear, the lair, and of course another hatchery and another sunken at the third base, because Locutus doing that Forge Fast Expand is rather slow in getting, oh, the probe got a couple of hits there and is about to die, because speed will be done by now, momentarily. And perhaps then we'll see the demise of Mr. Scouting Probe. And there it goes. Every time it micros a little bit, it gets nipped in the behind and then killed. Now Locutus moving out with a handful of goons and one zealot. Killerbot still has only got a handful of Zerglings and of course two Sunkens. Losing some Zerglings along the way, that's not good, losing some hit points. And now with the Sunkens and the Zerglings, killing a goon or two, then retreating. I think that's a sound decision, because there are more forces coming from the top, nabbing a goon over here, and now the goons with the Zerglings are fighting at the choke. And you can see how Killerbot is expertly mastering the noble art of fighting units only when they are in range. And now with the nice sandwich, oh, but there are reinforcements coming from Locutus as well, and Locutus is going for another base. Unfortunately, Killerbot has been there already, and now this probe starts nibbling at the hatchery, and now starts nibbling at the drone, and the drone dies. So there you go. The goon's still at it, but I think even though they are going to wear down this sunken, ooh, now the drones are all being evacuated. That's nice to see. And Killerbot really needs an army. It's got 4.5 versus the 30 of Locutus. Locutus taking a third base, saving up some forces over here. And this drone goon harassment still going strong. Now with 2 turrets, I think Killerbot is in an okay position, but really could do with some forces. Now, the map is awash with small groups of units. The problem is that there is a small cluster of goons in here, doing damage to the infrastructure, killing the natural hatchery, killing some tech buildings. And these Zerglings, although they are doing great work, the real problem is that these 5 goons are still unhindered in the natural and have completely killed it. These Zerglings should just move in there, kill it all, and be done with it. Meanwhile, Killerbot, though, has taken more and more bases, but it can't really deal with this army over here because its army is so small. Quickly throwing up a couple of Sunkens, but it's going to be rather late. These goons are microing expertly, and with only 1 hatchery in the main is gravely threatened. Then again, the main is not really the main anymore, because most of the tech buildings, the hatcheries and the eco is elsewhere. Nice bit of drones though there. And the goons of Locutus are really doing their utmost to keep the Zerg off balance. Zerg losing a unit here, losing a unit there, and then you can understand how the army disparity gets to be so large. Now, Killerbot is really throwing away a lot of units. The main has somehow stabilized. The natural's still a bit of a mess. And now it's 4 versus 3 bases, but this is the problem I feel for Killerbot, that it can't really touch that Protoss army, although the Zerg army is growing in strength as well. It used to be 10 earlier, now about 42, but it should just go and ideally make some more potent units as well. Now this looks to be a bit of a concave. Zerg units on all sides, but they are just not going for it. Reinforcements being caught off guard. Overlord being brought along to help deal with the Dark Templar, but then again, the units are too weak and just can't stand the heat. Now, this Protoss army is still very strong. These goons for the Locutus are so powerful, but then again, there are Zerg units coming in from every angle. That's really impressive. But 100 supply Protoss army, and all the reinforcements, well, about half the reinforcements are getting cut off. The remainder are still able to join the main army. Oh, and now this is a good spell for Killabot. But still with the probes, I think these Hydras will be done for it quickly. And now, oh, there are 3 Sunkens here and some Zerg forces, and half of the Protoss army is away. So I think that Killabot can sort of hold this, but these goons are so very potent, and it's so hard for Killabot to deal with that. And now, only now taking another base. Main for Locutus is out though. Big problem though for Killer is that Locutus has such a huge army, and a Killer is still throwing units away by the 1s and 2s, and that's not good at all. Dark Templar coming up. Will there be an Overlord? Probably, but where is it? Hard to see. Oh dear, oh dear. Killabot under a lot of pressure, and the Goon Ball is growing. What can be a problem for Locutus is that the Natural's mining out, the 3rd is under attack, and once this army, it can't do everything by itself, I suppose. But Killabot hasn't got an army, so if Locutus can strike somewhere, the 3rd is being engaged once again. Reinforcements are being hindered by these Hydras over here. Now Locutus is going to take this base in a trade, but all the drones are being evacuated. That's a really nice show. And somehow this Dark Templar got killed off. I did miss how it was done, but now the Natural's kind of low, the main's kind of low, and it's 108 versus 28 battle. This base got snuffed. That's unfortunate. But Killabot still can win this game, and Locutus can win this game up too. It's got 120 supply army, and Killabot really needs to... It's just fighting with Zerglings and Hydras all the time. That can't be good. And although it's balancing workers like a pro, it just can't really get that army together. And now the Natural is going to suffer again, and the main, although it's out, is going to fall again. And still Locutus has this 120 supply army, and the 3rd is still up and running-ish, because Locutus can take out bases and defend its 3rd simultaneously. That's pretty well done. And Killabot really ought to think about grouping an army a little bit better than it has to, because these 3 Hydras are just going to die, and this couple of Sunkens is going to die too. Will a single goon be killed? Yes, 1. And at this point you are losing a base at the price of a single... 2 goons for a base, and that's just not trading right. Reinforcements for Killer though are coming round the bend, and Killabot's army is down to 104, with some forces still being run in, and these Hydras are experts at catching these reinforcements with their pants down and killing them. 3rd still up and running, but Locutus' army is dropping. It's decreasing in size, and although the main and the Natural are gone, and Killer still has only got 2 bases, really should think about taking another. The 3rd for Locutus is absolutely devastated, and now it's 50 versus 92 army supply. Killabot macroing like a pro, lots of Hydras being run into the ground though, but now Killer is going for the attack, going for the Natural, and that will mean also the production capacity. Now a handful of goons arriving at what's basically the main of Zerg, with all the tech there and a lot of eco. But the Hydras are sufficient in strength, I think, to deal with that. And of course, with 3 hatcheries and... oh no, that's not a hatchery. And a couple of Sunkens, should be pretty safe. Hydra's being killed over here, and now it's 23 versus 17 army. And Killer is just losing too much stuff and not rebuilding any bases. That's not good at all. These 3 goons are being killed. That's good for Killer. But this might be the deciding battle, because if Killer loses a lot over here and there will be a remaining force of 50 supply for Protoss, the last base of Zerg won't be safe anymore. So now with a handful of Hydras and a Sunken 50, 84 army supply, I feel that although Protoss is gaining ground, it is not doing so. Oh, but now the There is only one sunken left, still one being thrown up in that corner, 46 supply left, and reinforcements being engaged, but only by a handful, a very tiny handful of Hydras, and no new base taken. Killer is out. Killer needs this base. If Killer loses this base, it will have to make do with these 15 army supply. One more goon biting the dust, and no new economic activity is being developed, and Locutus is killing the Hydras in the main base. They have grown. Oh, they're going after the pylon, not dealing with the forces, and now the main base of Zerg is dead. No long distance mining, no new base. And Protoss still has got 32 army supply versus only the 2 of Zerg. There are 2 Hydras. What can they do? They can't do too much. They get rounded up by their goons, and now it's only a matter of time before the goons will find this base over here. With only 4 Sunkens, I can't really see this happening. 2 Sunkens, 0 Sunkens, and Locutus takes it because Killabot refuses to macro on, and that is a pretty nice victory. Let's go into the next game, which is Ifbot versus Purple Spirit. And Ifbot is, or reactivated, was brought on the scene for testing only, and now is, well, back in force, I should say. And have we got, yes, the window is open. It's pretty hot in Holland, so that might do wonders for my code, or kill it, or depending on which point of view you take. Hopefully you'll take mine. And that is a pretty BM. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, that's a pretty BM move, just proxy barracks in the natural. But Ifbot's got 2 barracks of its own, and has got some SCVs as well. Now, the question is, will it be able to put up a bunker, or look at the economy? We've got 9 versus 12 workers, Ifbot with the worker lead, but is losing some workers because the army of Purple Spirit is better at this moment. So this will be a little bit of a tug of war. Workers will fall, and Purple Spirit, if I'm not very much mistaken, oh no, it ceased producing extra workers, and some workers it's sending over might do with a bunker. And Ifbot has got 15, now Purple Spirit 9, 10, but every time this barracks is taking some hits, Ifbot loses a little bit. But Ifbot is producing more and more workers, and it could really do with bringing these Marines to the battle. There it comes, and if this academy, or I think it's going to be an academy, oh, that's a bunker for Purple Spirit, that's pretty good. But if this academy is going up, and Ifbot can make a couple of medics, that would be pretty nice. Well, not for Purple Spirit. Okay, there's one medic. And that's a bunker of Ifbot, so that's pretty good. And Ifbot is populating the bunker and now has taken control of its own natural choke. This bunker is slightly out of range, but with the 2 barracks and a superior economy, it can now do quite well. And Purple Spirit, what's it going to do? More bunkers coming up for... Oh, the medics are dying, that's rather sloppy. But then again, as a new bot, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. This is going to take quite some SCVs to finish this bunker. But if it's going to start range, it might be better off and able to kill this bunker as well. Now, let's see. We've got a lot of workers, but lots of workers are being killed. And finally ranging down this bunker as well. And that means that a lot less money can go to the marine production for Purple Spirit. Purple Spirit now supply locked as well. And this bunker is just firing all the time at this bunker of Purple Spirits. And behind that, nothing much is happening. No SCVs are being produced, no tanks. This marine is doing something, and this might be an eBay or a factory, and I hope it's... Oh no, it's an eBay, that's a pity. But Ifbot is producing some units, although it's very unfortunate that they are going to be shot to pieces by this one bunker. But you can see that the bunker is getting damaged, and that means that Purple Spirit is slowly running out of money, and if this bunker is going to fall, these medics are doing something really silly. That means that, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Ifbot should be able to win this, but I don't know really how it's going to do that with more barracks. Worker production has ceased. Upgrade-wise, oh, there aren't upgrades at all. Ifbot has got Stim. Oh, and finally the bunker has 4. So now Purple Spirit in a bit of a quandary. It can't possibly attack, it hasn't got a follow-up plan, and it's got a max supply of about 18. So by the time that Ifbot has got this thing, this army well produced, it can move out, and with all the stim and the medics, I think it can be pretty effective in whittling down this handful of Marines. For the time being, Purple Spirit doing okay. Now, Ifbot, when is it going to move out? It's 45 versus 5 army supply, and only 3 SCVs left on the part of Purple Spirit. Might take some while, and there they go, and going with the stim after the barracks. Now all the Marines heading back to base. 2 SCVs are being sent out as reinforcements, but I can't really see that working. Main still got a lot of use in it. SCV production has never been resumed, but I think that with the army influx of Ifbot into Purple Spirit's base, I think it's going to be a victory, and that is going to be the GG. Next game is Crazio versus, again, Purple Spirit, and let's see if Purple Spirit is going to do that proxy barracks again. And there goes the first SCV. It's going for a depot at home, and Crazio is going for a barracks after a depot, then another barracks. And a command center for Purple Spirit, that's always nice to have, and a barracks as well. Very quick expansion by Purple Spirit. And lots of gas being mined as well. Crazio with a large army with the academy. And Purple Spirit going for a factory now. With the bunker, and army-wise Crazio is way ahead. But the defensive position might favor Purple Spirit, although Crazio... Oh, this tank could really rather be somewhere else. But for the moment it still lives, although it's not being repaired, and this bunker is doing quite well. Oh no, the tank snuffs it. Crazio losing a lot of units, but Purple Spirit losing a lot of SCVs, and although it's got a natural, it's not a good feeling to have this. Oh, and with the Vulture and the tank, I think that Purple Spirit might just hold this, but what a number of SCVs have been killed. Crazio for the time being equalizing SCVs, if Purple Spirit of course has got the extra command center, so we'll be able to produce more and better. Crazio, what's it going to do? Surely it's not going to play pure bio versus a mech opponent of one base, but for the time being it's happily doing so. While Purple Spirit is setting up one tank, couple of vultures, going for some air units of its own, might just as well, because Crazio's all over that with a wraith of its own, gets killed with firing a single shot, but not really much to write home about. And with 2 tanks and an ex-wraith, I think that the tank is going to die. Crazio's with the Marines and the medics is doing so much damage. This tank over here has got a good position though. The Vulture is doing quite well as well, and Crazio's going after the barracks for some reason. That's not good. And for not going for a natural base at all, that's really strange. But Crazio's got this natural well under control. 2 wraiths hammering away or pewing away at this tank, and the Marine even lives. That's pretty impressive. Crazio putting a lot of pressure on Purple Spirit. Purple Spirit can't really get anything done. It's only 1 Goliath. It's 27 versus 6 army supply. And that is an impressive demonstration of how effective bio can be in the hands of a Grandmaster or Guild Royal I, namely Crazio. And still not making finally making a natural command center, and that is surely going to be the GG. So let's hop into the next game, which will be, let's start from the bottom up. It's Banana Brain versus Egbert, and let's see, we saw Locutus earlier with a very excellent Goon Micro. Let's see how well Banana Brain has developed in the last week. As the enemy, I took Egbert, which received some updates as well, and looks to be in a good position to join up with the sub-top. While I'm there, I should show you the ELO ranking without voting, and Ironbot is on top there. That's very surprising. Then Crazio, Kilobot, B Reaver, Steamhammer, Purple Wave, Cherry Pie, TSMU, Protoss, Silent Prince, and then the rest. Here you've got Locutus, and where is Banana Brain? Banana Brain is way down. Wow. I always liked it, but I didn't know it was this accomplished. And of course our own ladder with voting. Crazio's on top. Behind that, Ironbot, Locutus, Purple Wave, Microwave, Kilobot, TSMU, Random, Banana Brain, Cherry Pie, Andrew Smith. Skynet is really making resurgent. Egbert, Thomas Weider, B. Reaver, TSC Moo, Steam Hammer, Chris Cokes, and then basically the rest. So back to the game, nothing too much has happened. Of course we had the sound running still, so if a major conflict would have been fought out, we would have heard about it. And Egbert going with a single bunker, lots of barracks and an academy, going to make a small push, and Banana Brain is really stacking up a nice supply of zealots, handful of goons, and you can see these armies are really rather balanced at the moment. Both have got a natural. Banana Brains is up already, which might give it a slight lead. Oh, and now its armies moving out as well. We've got a 40 versus 37 army supply with the stim. I think that Egbert should be in a good position, especially with the bridges. 3, 1 goon, 2 goons, and you can see these Protoss units really can't touch the Terran ball at this moment. Egbert in a very happy position with the stim. Let's look at the other upgrades. We've got range +1, armor and weapons are starting, and of course we heard it already, it was the stim. Now, ooh, 1 marine gets killed, and a couple of marines do get killed, but this Protoss army is really taking a lot of damage. 3rd base completed for Banana Brain, Templar tech operational, but combat-wise, Egbert is holding its own quite masterfully and beating back anything the Protoss is throwing at it. And right now, I don't really see anything that can stop this Protoss in this Terran invasion. Now, a handful of units there for Protoss, but it's still 13-16 versus 40 army supply. Ooh, and 3 SCVs snuff it before the medics catch up. And now with, I think, is there Storm yet? Storm's not yet done, so this Templar should really rather sit back. Or it's going to get killed, and that it won't like that. Probe transfer being ground short. 4th base started for Protoss, but the natural is being taken in revenge. It's 6 versus 40 army supply, and Protoss is really finding itself without an army and up the paddle with a creek, or how do you say that? So Egbert having some running out of building space, not really. Oh yes, there it goes. Every time you say not really taking the base, then the bot will do so. And is now demolishing the Protoss main. Storm is done, but this Templar is in a rather difficult position. Oh, and that is quite nice, because now most of the medics are dead, and now the High Templar should rather retire, but... Oh, now it's retiring, but it's still way ahead of the Zealots. And the Terran is going after the base, and the next wave is coming up already. 3rd base nearly finished, lots of production on the Terran end. Both players can't really keep their money down at the moment. Protoss has got a couple of storms left in it, but this 4th base is about to be hit, and then it will be 3 versus 2 bases, as the natural's still sort of killed. And this Zealot army is not going to stop a 50 supply M&M army. Look at the damage it's putting out, look at these medics, they are healing constantly. And that 3rd base, 4th base got stomped into the ground quite quickly and efficiently. Some probes, workers being transferred for Egbert, more barracks being built, and look at Egbert go. That's such a lot of bio. You can't really, you need the best storms in the world. Some storms are coming, I suppose. And that was a quite nice one, that was a missed one, and there should be one more, but here it would have hurt a lot. And then Banana Brain should be more careful about protecting its Templar, because it's losing them without a visible reason, just keeping them in the line of fire. And Egbert is not going to give a damn, it's just going to power through into the main base, and that's going to be the GG. Another bot which got upgraded was How Pan, based on stone, iron, so let's see what that's going to do. Then Map Mix Protoss. I thought, well, let's take this replay, might be a nice demonstration for How Pan to show what it's worth. Going for a most excellent SimCity, and nothing much of a SimCity at the end of Map Mix Protoss. Going for a quick expansion, and How Pan going for a lot of tech on one base. That seems to be a choice that's rather made a lot by Terrans. I see Iron do it, Crazio do it. TSC Moo Terran is a little bit quicker in taking expansion, and Hatmix is stationing troops all over the place. And oh, this goon's playing tag with the vultures and the mines. Doesn't really go all that well. The vultures do take a lot of kills, and then you can see that the micro of Ironbot is really in there, and is with a handful of units trying for a contain of the natural choke. Some units of Mad Mix are out there, are going to hit or might hit, if there were something flying, this small contain from the rear. Simultaneously attacking it from the front would seem prudent. The tank now left completely exposed, and this contain is speedily broken. Third base already up for Protoss, and the natural for Terran is done. Worker transfer, oh yes, there we go. So even with new bots, you can see that while they are using older bots as a foundation, it's so much stuff you haven't got to think about anymore. And this is still something of a contain, but I like that Mad Mix is doing its utmost to keep a small expeditionary force outside of the main walls. Always comes in handy when you need to break a contain, and Halpan is just going to do exactly that, trying for a new contain, and Mad Mix is just smuggling units outside of its main walls every once in a while, and is trying to clean up again. The tank is still at the bridges. Will it come into play? Yes, it will come into play. And the tank snuffs it. Oh, that's very unfortunate. The remainder of the Terran force is doing quite well. Fourth base being taken by Mad Mix Protoss, and I like this new Brute War style compared to 2 or 3 years ago where bots would sit forever on 2 or 3 bases. These days, bots just take what they can and run with that, and look at the damage these Marines are putting out, and look at the damage they are buffering as well. The Protoss army is nearly non-existent, and although Protoss has got 3 bases operational, 4th soon to be, it's got grave issues assembling a large army, and that is something that may come in handy for bots, just to not throw units away one at a time. You saw it earlier, Killerbot was losing too many stray Hydras and Lings, and it just didn't pay off in the end, and Locutus was able to take that game by storm. Fourth base completely unprotected, and although Mad Mix got the army supply, the army is not where it's needed right now. Ooh, and now, oh dear, Terran Expeditionary Force cut short. And this is a very light contain if you've got a 4-base economy to contend with. Only 2 bases for Halpan, and Halpan doing what it can, but it's not really looking good for our friendly neighborhood Terran at the moment. Lots of production for Mad Mix. Look at all these gateways. It's not even really producing anything else. It's not producing Reavers, although it can, not any air units. And if we look at the production tab, oh, you've got a Scout coming up and a Dark Templar, so that's always nice to have. A single Vulture still in there, and now it gets cut to pieces by this Dark Templar. And now it's 80 versus 17 army supply, and Terran is finding itself in a very difficult position, especially since the Scout is leading the way, Dark Templars are coming up, Goons and Zealots, and although the mines are taking their toll, good heavens, look at all the damage being done. Now the Protoss army is victoriously marching into the Terran Natural, and even this Vulture can't do anything about that. So here goes the Natural Command Center. It's now a 100 army supply versus not even 20. And although there are quite a bit of turrets, I don't think these turrets are going to do much about the ground forces. 5th base taken and populated by Mad Mix. Look at the macro go, that's really damn impressive. Good show by Mad Mix. Halpan, well, it's can't really fault it. Could have expanded a little bit more and grouped its army a little bit better, because it was losing stray units all over the place. This Dark Templar, the Terran units are so depressed at the moment, they are not even turning to shoot anymore, although there are a lot of turrets detecting this Dark Templar, and now the turrets are going to fall, but so do all the other buildings. And Mad Mix taking the game by storm. Next game up is Microwave versus Banana Brain. Microwave got an upgrade as well. And as it was a damn impressive piece of Brute War AI coding to start with, I'm very interested to see what it's going to do now. So Banana Brain, you'll know it is going to macro its balls off, and Microwave used to be all about very frugal play, handful of drones, couple of bases, not really overdoing it in that department. And also, oh, that's excellently placed Sunken. And of course you're not going to get in there. You can see Banana Brain with 12 army supply, Microwave only 3, and Microwave populating the Natural quite handily, is going for a lair, might be going for a Spire. What will there be to contend? We've got a Cyber Core, we've got a Stargate, so potentially we're going to see Goons and Corsairs going for the natural. Saturation for Microwave is rather low, and going for a quick third. I like that. It's always nice to see bots macroing better if they've got the chance, and Banana Brain at this point is not putting any kind of pressure on it. There is one Corsair, and the one Corsair is being totally ignored by all the mutas, or it must be for the secondary damage, and these mutas are just taking a grave pounding, but at the same time are killing a lot, and I do mean a lot of probes. And oh, finally they are taking a look at this goon, and Banana Brain really can't do anything about that, because its one Corsair appears to be down, and that was the end of the Air Force, and all the rest, the 34 supply is all in Zealots, and Microwave is laughing its ass off. That was a really quick game. Banana Brain didn't scout, didn't react to the mutas, and now it's paying the price. So let's hope for a... oh no, there is not going to be a miraculous comeback, because there is no probe, there is no money, and there is a 3-base Zerg economy with still only 27 workers. That might be a little bit more, but still I've got the impression... oh, here come the Zealots, that's good. There are 2 Sunkens, but even if you've got to bring home the mutas, that's not going to work with these Zealots over here. Nice Spore Colony. Or is there so much damage in these Zealots that they might be able to kill 3 bases without... oh, here comes the Swarm. All the mutas are dying, some additional damage may be done in the main, but that's about it, and now there is 0 army, 0 income, and still 2 bases for Zerg. Going to call the GG, and let's hop into the next game, and I thought, well, perhaps let's see Microwave versus another opponent, and this one is a little bit better, sorry to say, than BananaBot, as demonstrated by the ELO ratings. It is Ironbot, and Ironbot with a very interestingly placed depot. Will it be able to place a command center here? I very much doubt it, but that's a nice wall off, and that should count for something as well. Now Microwave going for a very quick lair again, going for a quick expansion, going for a handful of Zerglings to do something of a contain. Ironbot right behind that with 2 factories, and is going for some vultures, and vulture, ooh, that might be backtrack, sorry. That might be the saving grace for Iron, that these Zerglings are tearing down that depot. Scouting SCV is not getting too much done. Is this going to be a lurker build? I do not know. But now the vultures can get out, and you can at least place a decent natural command center here. We've got one Sunken. It's in a good position, but Iron has got this run-by mechanic, which no other bot at this moment can do. And Microwave, what's it doing? Here comes the run-by, 1 vulture snuffs it. Oh, and there is another Sunken, so Microwave is in an okay position. Will this vulture find a hole in the armor of Zerg? Probably not. Perhaps right here around the rear. Perhaps it might, by moving so, finally find it, but the Overlord is coming to have a look at the mines. And that was the end of that. So we've got 1 Sunken, handful of Hydras, natural started by Ironbot, and the game is officially afoot. Another run by, but then again we've still got this this Sunken over here. And that looks like a bit of a lurker play, that's good. Has Iron got detection? It's got turrets, it hasn't got an academy, but it's got quite a number of turrets, so should be okay. And of course there are vultures with mines all over the map. And that's a nice catch, but it isn't really worth it. If you're going for 2-base lurker, you need to get some more purchase. And these tanks don't really dare approach. Oh, they do dare approach, but then they are being chased back rather quickly. And Microwave is sitting with 20 workers on 2 bases, while Ironbot's got the map and has got no academy yet. Lots of turrets though, so detection-wise should be okay. And is making a lot of units. We've got 1 lurker over here. Ironbot's somehow trying to contain it. And with the SCV doing wonders. Here comes the academy, here comes 1 comsat, here comes another. And I keep hearing mutas, but where are they? Oh, we've got one. That was a bit of an overstatement to call them mutas, but microwave with 30 workers, only 2 bases though, so that's not really worth it at this point. And although it's zoning out these vultures quite handily with the lurkers, it's not really doing any damage at all, and it's losing a couple of too many units to make way across the map. And that may cost it. And Ironbot is just going to do its contain with the turrets, with the mines, with the mutas, and with the repair. I don't think these muta Ling armies are going to make much of a dent in that. And Ironbot's got all the bases mined up, might easily take a third. Is building some more turrets just to make damn sure that Zerg doesn't get out. And although, oh dear, some units being lost due to the lurkers, this contain is getting stronger and stronger. With the scan going off, it's only one lurker, and you can see the army disparity growing. Ironbot is, I think, going for a third base. Yeah, turrets first, and then the command center. More turrets first, then the command center. But still, with the SCVs and the tanks and the raids and the Valkyrie, oh hello, going to push towards the natural Zerg. And will there be a command center too, lads, or just turrets? Oh, there we go, command center. So Ironbot demonstrating why it's still that powerhouse that it is. It is like a boa constrictor with 2 tanks, handful of support units, turrets and mines all over the place, being very cost efficient and just choking you to death. Now with 3 bases, Zerg is going to lose the natural, and these Scourge, what can they do? There are just so many turret units. It's a 4 versus 45 army supply battle at the moment, and that's not in Zerg's favour, as it should be obvious. So Iron marching straight into the natural and the main and taking a 4th base, going to be the GG. Let's look at a new Zerg on the block. It's called Styx, and Styx of course is the river of the underworld, and Nightcat is the name of the player, and Protoss should make clear what race it's playing. Okay, well that was very intelligently put. And Styx is going for a expansion first at the mineral only. I like that. Perhaps you can throw up a couple of turrets, be extra safe. And Nightcat going for a 2-gate with a cyber core, nice concave of zealots, and a nice number of drones, and a handful of Zerglings, just making sure there is nothing. Oh, that's a lot of Zerglings. Will we have speed too? We won't have speed because, oh, there is gas, but no speed, and I like that, and I only hope that Zerg doesn't throw all these units away. No, it isn't. They are running. They correctly assessed the situation. Oh, and now they correctly assessed that they can take 2 zealots for almost free and then run again. So that's pretty well done, because if you had done this with only 6 Zerglings, you would have suffered a lot, because Protoss is going full army production of 1 base, then smuggling in an unprotected natural, and if you've only got Zerglings, that's going to be a bit of a pain. Now, we've got the Spire up, and the Spire will surely lead to an increase of the Mutalisk production count. The question is though, where are the mutas? Small peek at production tab, no mutas to be seen yet. Lots of gas on the part of Styx, no third. Oh, well, there comes the 3rd base. I should look before talking, that should be better. And now the Zerglings are in the natural, killing some probes, then they get cornered and killed, and the Protoss army is growing and growing, but Zerg's got 3 bases versus the 2. Oh, 3 of Protoss, hello. Stick a foot in it. And then a lot of Zerglings are being killed, and Protoss has got the +1 nearly finished, though that means that these Zerglings will be basically worthless. 3 bases up, Nightcat looking to be in great shape. Drone count for Styx is rather low. It's got such a lot of gas, that's really beyond me why it needs such a lot of gas. And Nightcat just taking another couple of bases for itself. And and then let all the Zerglings into the natural while the army is off on a vacation in the bottom right position. And although the Zealots have got +1, the Muta is doing a lot of damage, and of course all the probes in the natural got cut to pieces. Still the bigger picture is that it's 16 versus 50 army supply, and although there are a couple of mutas, I think that by now there are so many goons that it doesn't really matter how many mutas there are. And Styx going for a 4th base in an aggressive direction, and Nightcat going for a 5th. Good morning to you, sir. And both players have got a lot of money, and that is okay. Muta Cloud is slowly growing, and that means that if these mutas were to attack the goons, that they might be in an advantageous position. Unfortunately, they are going after the zealots, which means that the goons have free range, and that's very unfortunate. So that might be a minor point of attention for Zerg, that you let if you kill the goons first, and then again, if you've only got 5 mutas or a handful of mutas, it doesn't really matter, because Protoss right now has got so many probes mining. It's 60 versus 23. And Styx very well done, but still a lot of work to be done before. Oh, that's a lot of tech. A lot of work to be done before you can really take on a macro-heavy Protoss like Nightcat. And that is the GG. Next game up is Gibot versus Mate Isnik, and Gibot received another update, so I thought, well, let's take one of the bots which has been going without an update for the longest time, almost 5 years now. It's Mate Isnik, and Mate is still kicking ass sometimes. It is very, very solid, and it makes no mistakes in what it does. That said, it is not as good as Icebot, and it can be an excellent bot to test your prowess as a newcomer. And this is a 1-gate range build with an added nexus. I like that. It's unconventional, but we've got 1 goon and a probe coming to check out the Terran army, and the Terran army is rather slow to move in, but once it does, oh, the goon does get out. That's pretty well done. And that should not have been the wisest choice. Wasn't the wisest choice. So now a 2-gate with a soon-to-be 2 base. That's okay. Needs a little bit of time to catch up in army supply and in army value as well, because right now Mate Isnik has got these 2 barracks, has got 1 factory, and is also in possession of medics. Upgrade-wise, only goon range, and this goon is pretty damn ballsy, but it's taking a lot of fire. And, ooh, 1, 2... Oh, these Marines wandering off on their own for a little bit of goon. Shield health is a net victory for Protoss. Gibot not transferring any workers, but is populating the natural, going for some kind of tech, and is going to kill a couple of Marines. The medics are really rather far in the rear. All these goons are excellently micro, that should be said as well, and are killing some units. That's basically what's happening right now, and that means that the Terran army isn't really gathering a large striking force as of yet, and this Marine is sticking its neck in a little bit too far and is killed consequently. We've got a robo support bay, and Protoss has now got a shuttle. It's trying to pick up a goon, and the goon doesn't really want that, so that's an interesting development. Now will we have a robo support bay as well, and now these goons are still trying to micro. Oh, and now the goon is picked up and dropped, and picked up and dropped, and that would be very interesting if it were a Reaver, but picking up goons in the middle of a fight is not generally the best idea. And although the goons are doing quite a bit of damage, I think once these tanks arrive, they are being outgunned pretty quickly. Natural is finally up and running, but the production capacity at the Protoss end of things is rather limited still. We've got a forge, we've got a robo bay, so might have a Reaver, and that Reaver might come in damn handy, because the vultures are in the natural. Oh, the workers have been transferred. That's not a total loss for Terran, but now the tanks are sieging up in range of the goons, and of course the Nexus, so that's not good at all. And now the shuttle is waiting. Small peak, we'll have a Reaver soon. So let's see how that's going to play out. Gibot, what are you going to do with the Reaver? Because the natural is lost, and there it goes. 4 tanks in a row, some supporting units, and a shuttle. Oh shuttle, what art thou going to do? Nice bit of micro, but not really as on point as it should have been. But kills the first tank, that's good. and chases away and kills the second tank as well. Mete Isnik, however, has got the natural up and running. Keyboard replacing it immediately and still attacking with only a handful of goons, and I doubt that's the wisest because there are quite a number of mines out there, and playing Minesweeper with goons if you've only got 3 is relatively very expensive. Now immediately a third nexus placed by Geebot. That I think is a good decision because the main's getting rather low, the oversaturation is huge. And with that Reaver with the shuttle you can do quite a bit of damage versus this kind of hybrid army. 6 tanks now moving out for Istnik, and Istnik should be in a good position, and you need some really fancy micro with this Reaver to do respectable damage to keep this Terran army in check. No third base yet for Terran, and I think that might be the saving grace. That Istnik is rather a little bit slow with the macro. Oh, and though this shuttle is trying to find an edge, but it can't really find one. Oh, that's a nice shot, but I'd be very hesitant to micro shuttle in full range of a nice conglomeration of siege tanks if I hadn't got any kind of other backup. But meanwhile, the Terran army is stalled, the Natural's up and running again, albeit completely unprotected, and there are no Protoss units wherever. And that means a lot of probes are being killed. There is 1 goon. But the army production capacity for Protoss is really abysmal at this point. Although the income is good, there are only 3 gateways, and you can not really wait for Terran to gather up a large army and roll you over. Now Terran's some kind of stuck. These units can't really move as freely about as they should have liked to. The probes are mulling about in the middle of the map for reasons I don't really know, and 1 observer with a goon is playing Minesweeper. I think that's good. More probes being transferred, and of course they're being spotted by a Wraith. That's really unfortunate. Could do with a pylon and a cannon at each base, and could also do with quite a bit of more gateways and forces, because Protoss is slowly rebuilding an army, but should do something about the Wraith, really. And these probes are flying about all the time. I don't really know what they're up to, but it's not really the most efficient use you can make of them. Now 1 goon is trying to stall the onset of a 70 supply army, and if I'm not very much mistaken, oh right, now we've got 2 goons in 2 shuttles. That's good. And they are just outside the range of that siege tank, but now are coming to bear, and although the goons do suffer a little bit, and the Terran army is retreating again, so giving Protoss more time to walk onto mines. Oh god, that's so really hard to watch. But from a Terran perspective it's rather good. Main is not yet mined out, the worker saturation is quite low, and this is not going to be a third base, but Protoss really ought to keep its units closer together and micro its observers better, and that's a bit of a shame. But Shuttle Reaver, I like that, needs a little bit of polishing. And what else would it need? Oh, more gate. Here come the more gateways. That's how you do it. And still the probes. What the bloody... This is going to be the biggest probe explosion ever. I've got this bad feeling about that. And these 2 Reavers are trying to stall the Terran army. Oh, and here come all the probes. You've got High Templars. Have you got Storm? Storm is getting done. There are 90 workers on 2 bases. Might take another base. Should take another base. And Terran is somehow stuck on these bridges, but won't be so for very much longer. And the Natural is completely unprotected, and these probes are so absolutely gobsmackingly stupid. They are not mining, they are not moving, they're just being in the way. And now the High Templar are, well, the group of units which are going to save the game try and save the game for Geebot. These probes, I would shoot them, I would kill them all because they are so obnoxious. They should find another couple of bases and mine over there. And Istnik is really rather slow, taking a third base now. And we'll have some storms. Storm, yeah, pretty good. Oh, but there are so many storms. That's pretty impressive. Terran losing 30 supply, but that's mainly in supporting units and infantry. And the core of the army, oh, the Templars live, that's good. The core of the army are these siege tanks, and they have not been touched yet. So, is there still a... oh no, God, it's not trying to pick up the High Templar. What is it? This Protoss play is looking so promising, but then again, it's just slightly off. And when it's off, oh, that's nice. Storm again. Should have another one, please. Where are the other Templar? Protoss is looking very promising, but just leaving a little bit off. It's throwing units away by the bucket load. And Istanix's main is out. Natural is not even running low. The third is up and running in a very bad place, but still the game is on. And the pro... oh god, what the hell is wrong with these probes? It's completely beyond me. And Terran is holding on by virtue with siege tanks, and Protoss can't really make a dent in the tank core because the micro of these High Templars and decision making of the units is so playing Minesweeper with Templar, please. Looking promising, but a lot of work to be done, and especially by these probes. We've got 91 probes and they are not mining. That is absolutely unforgivable. And Terran is slowly approaching the base. That was a good storm, but as long as Protoss... oh, now the works are going the right way again. Are they going to mine? Presumably. Oh, one Wraith and they'll bugger off. They'll just build a cannon and be done with it. God. Now Terran is in possession of another 100 supply army, taking bases all over the map, but is refusing to move out. Worker count is increasing. Protoss has got some kind of an army, but the army is totally... oh. And at the moment where you land 2 storms here, you might evaporate 100 army supply. These units are so clustered. But these High Templar have got such a lot of energy, but they are trying to kiss this SCV to death. And this is such a juicy target if these tanks were to unsiege. It could be so juicy, and now Terran is... oh, the SCV's been killed, that's good. High Templar are being put out there to do God knows what, and it's... okay, well, this game is nearly over, so I'll just let it finish just for now. Okay, well, Keyboard looking promising, but could be a little bit... well, it should be obvious where work is due, but looking good. Got all the units, can attack, but later will get completely wacky. Last game of today, it's going to be Willy T versus Crazio, and I think this game was recommended. I don't know why. I do know that Crazio is quite a monster, and Willy T I know very little about, so let's see how it's going to play. It's going for a supply barracks. Barracks that's not the most aggressive, but will lead to quite a substantial number of Marines in the very short future. Now Crazio going for a bunker, handful of Marines, and then a factory. Rather late expansion again. And Willy T is doing the same thing, just choking off the natural, going for a nice bio push, and... oh, now moving out with about 20 army supply. Crazio should be okay with the turrets and the bunker, and of course 1 siege tank already. 2 siege tanks, and if they're going to be unsieged... oh, Willy T, what are you doing? Just wading straight in there. That's pretty impressive. Crazio hasn't got the firepower. It's what's got the firepower in the rear, but the units are attacking, and it's only down to 1 bunker. The tanks are in front of the bunker, and will Willy T have enough damage with the Marines, with the stim, with the medics? Crazio under a lot of pressure. Willy T might take this chance to put down a natural. Isn't doing so. And Crazio with the defender's advantage, and a tank with the long range and the heavy blasting is finally thwarting this push. And then it's going to move out into a very precarious position. The next wave is coming to come in, and Willy T is just going to throw wave after wave of units after that. And these two tanks are in a good position to land a couple of blows, but then will fall again. The barracks will fall as well, the turret will fall, and then it's going to be about... Ooh, these fire bats are doing so much damage to the SCVs repairing at the rear. It is a slaughter, and the bunker is falling, and now Crazio is under a tremendous amount of pressure. There is one tank, one Goliath, and Willy T with the medics in front is doing what it can. Crazio down to 5 army supplies, still the tank is blasting away, and the last... Oh, the Marines are fleeing! Why are they fleeing? They nearly had it won. Crazio's hanging on by a hair's thread, and with 5 army supply, that's absolutely... wow. That's quite impressive. The next wave is coming to come in again. This time the siege tank is a little bit further in the rear. There are 2 tanks now with floating buildings, which will give the tanks more time to blast away at this bio army. That said, the bio army is closing the distance fast, and this time there is no bunker. The first tank is engaged, the second tank is engaged as well and falling, and now it's Marines versus flying buildings and fire bats versus SCVs. One more tank, can it work miracles again? Yes, it can. 4 medics are fleeing, and Crazio being put under a tremendous amount of pressure, and Willy T refusing, as always, to take a natural command center. Gathering up the next wave in the choke of Crazio. Crazio with 2 tanks and the natural. If Crazio can manage to get this natural up and running, it will be golden, but until it's doing so, it's putting tanks out in a very precarious position, and it should really rethink that, because it's so dangerous, and the natural is being hammered into the ground again. It's cancelled, so the minerals will not be completely lost, but Crazio is going to lose workers again. Where is the... Ooh, that mine could have done so much more damage, but isn't doing so, and Willy T is powering through. Crazio is losing workers. There is only 1 tank that is being set on by a firebat, and now it's trying to do what it can, but there's only 1 tank. It's 2 versus 50 army supply. The next wave isn't even gathering up anymore, it's just reinforcements being poured in Crazio's base. Willy T with a brilliant aggressive play, and Crazio, well, throwing away a lot of tanks, and that's what you get for it. So, I think this is a nice last game of the broadcast. We'll be back next week. Keep the games coming. You can find my email address in the top left. And for all of you coders, keep at it. The game is beautiful. I love you all, and see you next week. Goodbye.